could rock the blue hair.
I do, yeah. Welcome to OBTV, the place for news, reviews and trends from the promotional merchandise industry. We're here live at ASI Chicago, and I'm joined by Jay Busselle, aka John Cany. Welcome, Jay.
Thank you.
Jay, tell everyone at home a little bit about yourself.
Well, John Cany has been in the film industry now. So I got started screen printing when I was 16 years old, Andy, believe it or not, and I've been in the industry ever since. So that also means as a business owner, as the general manager of a software company, and I've been extremely close to graphics, branding, and this is my 20th show in a row in Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah, 20 years in a row. It's been great. I do a lot of training and education for the ASI group and others, and it's a great pleasure to be here, to get to know all of the attendees, to see new trends, to see new developments in the promotional product industry, the merchandise, as we sometimes call it, the swag, and also apparel. So my background is in apparel as well. So
brilliant.
So we get to see it all. We get to see it all in Chicago.
It's great to have you on OBTV.
Thank you.
Because
it's an honor.
John Cany does have a huge amount of experience. He's very well respected in the industry. So it's an absolute pleasure to have you on OBTV. Jumping forward, and let's go straight into something you mentioned, which was trends. What's hot at the moment?
Well, I can only speak to obviously what I see and what's relevant here in the U.S. It probably would apply overseas and anywhere really, but there's a current trend. It's been hot for the last, I would say, year, of what I would say a minimalist, like a retail look, so that things like the logos and the brands and the colors are, I don't want to say flat in the sense that they're not eye-catching, but flat from the design standpoint, where it's a lot of tone on tone. It's a lot of the colorways are simpler. They're not as bright and loud, and anything that you see from packaging to merchandise to apparel seems to be more on that what I would say, again, minimalist. The small, it's powerful rather than a big loud T-shirt. Yeah. So.
And where do you see logo brands going?
Well, it's always going to be a part of our world because everything from schools to churches, corporations, they are all looking for an identity. They all have a voice, and this is one window into that voice. So it gives the public, the end user, if you will, it gives them some visibility. It helps them see maybe what your beliefs are, what you're known for, what standards you might have. And so I know it seems like, well, how can a logo communicate all of that? But that's the art of a fantastic brand. That's the art of outstanding branding.
See what you did there?
Yeah. It took me a while, but I got there.
Thank you. Give us an example of a brand, one of your favourite brands that does exactly that.
Let's think. I appreciate the sports teams in the United States. I think American football, I think Major League Baseball, National Basketball League, the NBA, these are all very serious, big-time brands that pay attention to who their audience is.
Yep.
They know how to speak to the right audience in the right voice.
Yep.
And make sure that their logos, their imagery, the theme, any message, and even the colors, everything is coordinated. Everything creates what I would call almost like a sense of leverage.
Yeah.
It helps create an environment where I feel like I'm a member of that team. I feel like I'm on the bench, right, if it's done right. And if it's not done well, and luckily that always is never the case with these major league football teams, basketball, etc. But on a smaller level, that's what we're trying to help our customers avoid those pitfalls, avoid that mistake.
Flip it on its head. Give us an example of a brand or an identity that does exactly that, doesn't resonate with you and leaves you feeling cold and not engaged?
That's a tough question, Andy.
And don't worry, we're not going to get sued. I know we've got a good reach with OBTV, but I'm not sure we have that far a reach.
Well, what comes to top of mind was, we take for granted things like I was just in line, as you know, at Starbucks.
Yes.
So it was not a pleasant experience.
No.
I made you wait for about 25 minutes, which I feel terrible about. So
you're worth waiting for, mate.
Yeah, I owe you. Next round's on me.
Next round's on you. Next round of tonic.
Cheers.
There you go, Starbucks.
I finally did get the beverage,
yes.
But Starbucks is on my list of. They seem lost. They seem like they are too wide, and they're trying to please all of the people all of the time.
Right.
Now that's a problem not many of us have, but that brand is worldwide. It's a global brand.
Yep.
And how do we know? The people in California and the people in New York, they have different preferences. They have different desires, different product wants. And then take that to the next level. People in England, do you guys have Starbucks?
We do, yeah, very big.
So in other countries, they're not.
No.
Because it's perceived as an American brand.
Right.
And so in that case, they're trying to fit in a space where they don't. Right. So I think you need to be true to your voice. And I think know who your audience is. And that's a brand, whether they change the color to green or to red, it doesn't really matter at this point because they're so well known. But it's how they act, and it's more than just a logo, and it's more than just an apron or a visor that has an embroidered logo on it. It's also the experience.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you move from our world of merchandise into the real world of the interaction.
You've been coming to ASI Chicago for 20 years. As I say, you're involved in logo brands.
Indeed.
For marketeers out there, or just anyone watching, what advice would you give them when they're thinking about their visual and their identity, the communication? What advice would you give?
Well, I would start with, imagine that you have a triangle. Imagine a triangle, and there's 3 points, obviously. One of those points is your personal voice, Andy's voice. The other point is outstanding branding. It has a voice.
Yep.
And then you have the audience. And sometimes that audience needs to hear from Andy, and sometimes that audience needs to hear from outstanding branding. And you have to be careful about those voices, and you have to remember that sometimes Andy is, can I say cheeky?
Yeah, you can say cheeky. You can go a lot harder than that if you want.
Sarah, can I go harder than that? No, I won't. Let's keep it family friendly.
But you all know what he means.
Okay. And outstanding branding probably has a different standard.
It does, yes.
You have to be careful about that professional image.
Yes.
And so in the advent of social media and always on,
yep.
You can get into a lot of trouble in very little time. So as that relates to a logo, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking more about the entire voice, the how it's perceived, how the message is received. And then that could be in work itself into the graphics, the colors, the style, the message, even the fonts, the fontography, the typography, all of that. And then looking for consistency. So I'm a big believer in consistency. I'd rather you were consistently wrong than you were inconsistent. From both a buyer's perspective and from a marketing background. That's just my preference. I'm just keeping it real.
Keep it real, Jay. The other thing is, if we were going to finish this here, what would you leave people with at home? Something to take away, something you've learned in your time, something to work on, and that could well be how they use their logo, pushing boundaries, or it just could be a little bit of a tip or hint. What would you leave everyone at home with?
Well, I would leave you with the idea that buyers want to respect the brand, and they are more intuitive, and they're listening to more than just seeing your logo. They're listening to What are your standards? What are your beliefs? What are you known for? What is your legacy? What is your reputation? And so I would leave all of the marketeers, as you say, with the idea of that is what I mean, and that's what we speak of when we say a brand. It's all of those touch points. And when you can align all of those touch points and get that alignment and be consistent, you create better leverage. You create a bigger impact. And so that's what I would say is to work, strive for that consistency and that alignment so that you can reap that leverage.
Brilliant. It's been an absolute pleasure, Jay.
My pleasure. My honor.
His name is Jay, not John Cany, but you can see the resemblance.
Do you see it? Do I look like John
To the
Cany?
great man. We've all seen Spaceballs, and if you haven't, go and get it out of the video shop.
This guy.
Love him. A huge expert in his field, and it's an absolute honour to have him on OBTV. Hopefully you're going to get to see more of John Cany in the future. This is OBTV. Thank you very, very much, Jay.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Take care.